So hello and a very good evening to all of you. We at CTS COA are delighted to invite you all to the day 2 of the fourth Kadi or sequence of our Samvad Shrinkla and extend a warm welcome to all of you. We initiated our Samvad in the month of June last year, and with your enthusiasm and support, we tread ahead to curate this series on water heritage and urban waterscapes. We have invited experienced authors, architects, and experts who will take us on a journey of water landscapes. Before I introduce today's speaker, I would like to request our principal, Professor Alka Tapi, to say a few words regarding her ideas on Samvad Shrinkla. Over to you, Alka.
Thank you, Nisha. Thank you, Nisha. Am I audible? Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, dear members of the audience, faculty, staff, students, and Savita Didi. She is my senior, and we used to call seniors Didi. So, we started this series last year. And as an experiment to evolve the dialogues with society on various aspects of architecture, like nature, built, unbuilt, conservation, whatever was always the underlying theme of these talks. Yesterday, people who attended the talk of architect Rahul Chempurkar realized that we discussed water, folklore, and spirituality. Now, as we all know, the water that we drink today is around 3.8 billion year old. And the life is started on Earth, not exactly people know, but around 3.2 to 3.5 billion years ago, the life is started because of this water. So the connect to spirituality, the connect to memory is very strong with water. We don't know whether the water is carrying those memories of maybe dinosaurs and whatever happened during that time. So when we talk about history and religion, we generally use the word mythology. The origin of mythology comes from the word myth, and myth has an element of story making or fiction or imagination. I want to believe that the stories that we tell in this land are the stories of real people, because the very strong oral tradition of keeping the records, the history, the culture has always been there in India. So probably these were real people who walked on this earth, and with their work and their functioning, they reached to the title of God. Today we are going to visit another such interesting place with Savita ma'am, which is the land of Krishna and Yamuna. And these two places have very strong place in Indian history. Yamuna is again a Savali river, or the river with dark color of water, and Kanha is also dark. So I'm very excited to go through this journey. I do not know what you are going to talk about, Savita Didi, but I'm so much looking forward to it. So back to you, Nisha.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts. I would now like to introduce our today's speaker. Professor Savita Raje is a landscape architect and has been engaged in teaching for the last 32 years at Maulana Azad National Institute of Technology, Bhopal, and School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. She has been the UNESCO expert for heritage issues of Madhya Pradesh through 2004 to 2009. And was invited as a trainer cum resource person by UNESCO headquarters at Paris for the Indian Mayor study tour to France. She was an expert in the UNESCO mission to Bhopal, Gwalior and Ujjain, and has authored the report titled Recommendations for Safeguarding the Future of Holistic Urban Landscapes of Madhya Pradesh. This report was submitted by the UNESCO to the MP government. She has worked extensively in the cities of Bhopal, Gwalior, and Maheshwar, and on her initiation, all the three cities have been included in UNESCO's network of Indian cities of living heritage. She has been a jury member for the postgraduate program in architecture at the School of Architecture, Paris, and is a member of Scientific Committee of Mediterranean Design Association, Italy. Professor Raje is the founder of Masters of Landscape Architecture at the School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal, and also responsible for starting the M.Arch in conservation at SPA Bhopal during her tenure as the head of Department of Architecture. She is the president of Living Heritage Alliance, a non-profit voluntary organization committed to the research, conservation, and education towards architectural and landscape heritage and for its due integration into the cities of the future. She has traveled to most parts of the world, spoken at many prestigious international conferences, and has conducted 5 international workshops in association with Indian and French partners. Architect Savita has organized exhibitions on waterworks of Rajasthan and living architectural and landscape heritage of Bhopal in collaboration with international and Indian organizations. She is one of the co-authors of INTBA Venice Declaration. She has authored the chapter titled The Essence of a Built Heritage through the Concept of Total Experience for the Cambridge Scholars Publications prestigious book Venice Charter Revisited, Modernism, Conservation and Tradition in the 21st Century. She has also edited the 7th issue of international journal Spandrel, dedicated to historic urban landscapes. She was awarded the research project titled Integrating Landscape Design into Urban Development Processes to Mitigate the Negative Impact of Land Cover Changes under the Thrust Area in Technical Education Scheme of MHRD. Madam has also headed the Independent Review and Monitoring Agency (IRMA) for the projects funded by JNNURM Ujjain and has been a part of the core team of prestigious Berkeley Scholarship awarded to SVA Bhopal. She has been invited to deliver special lectures at the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, the Technical University of Bari, Italy, and the RCVP Academy of Administration, Bhopal, for the training programs of IAS and IPS officers. She has delivered keynote addresses at many prestigious national and international conferences. She is a member and expert in many central government committees, including Archaeological Survey of India. She has few designs to her credit as the Drupad Sansthan Urdu Academy, design of Ahilya Garden, Maheshwar, Police Housing Corporation, Bhopal. Savita Raje Madam has held the position of the Registrar of Manit, Member of Board of Governors at SPA Bhopal, Chief Vigilance Officer at SPA Bhopal, Member of Education Board of ISOLA, and the jury member for National Awards in Landscape Architecture Profession and Academics. With her initiation, ISOLA Madhya Pradesh chapter has been established in the month of March 2021. Her presentation today will focus on the typology of urban waterscapes, water's journey in and through the city of Braj, immersing us in the story of illusion, integration, disintegration, exploitation, microclimate, cultural and ecological perspectives. So without further ado, I welcome Professor Savita Raje to present her work. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for such big introduction. Anyway, thank you very much for saying so many things about me. Without holding you long, I would straight away embark upon my talk today. As your principal said, Alka, she does not know what I'm going to talk about because Braj is a very, very magical land, and I'm talking about water bodies, the waterscapes of Braj. So she's right because my talk will be slightly different from the regular talks on the waterscapes where it is more architectural at times, but my talk will be in the spirit of how Lord and Radha have conceived the waterscapes, how they have been using it, and how it is today. Okay, so my approach to the talk will be relating with the mythology, the ecology, and the reality. Okay, and how it goes to the future. Right. So waterscapes of Braj. Braj is not any political boundary or any administrative boundary or any boundary that is demarcated on the land. It is a boundary in the minds of the people. It is a boundary of belief. It is a boundary of, it is a cultural boundary. So here lies a very interesting example where a boundary is demarcated by the belief and the mythology and not any politics or any administrative reasons. And this boundary is very much alive in the memory and the belief and the life of the people. It is a living boundary. It has not even been erased or even dulled with the great span of time. So the first image that you see on my slide, can you guess where it is, what it is? Can anyone guess what is this image about?
Some slum.
Yes.
Some slum.
Can you? Yeah. Can you guess?
It looks like a slum area.
It's looks like a slum area. It is not a slum area actually. It is a very densely built up slopes of a hill, and this hill is having great um, importance in Hindu religion and in the belief of the Braj, because this hill is the was the childhood romping ground of Lord Krishna, and this is where he lived as a child. So this is Nandagam. Of course, you know what is the relevance of Nandagam. Lord Krishna was born in Mathura, and he was brought to Nandagaon, where he stayed with his mother Yashoda Maya, and this is the place where he stayed. So this is Nandagaon, and Nandagaon is reflected in a water body that is near the near Nandagaon. So it is right? It looks like slum, but it is not a slum. I don't know why you said it looks like slum. It is a rural architecture, but it is not at all a slum. Nothing is dirty here. Houses are very nicely designed, well integrated, and it is on the slope. It's quite beautiful. Not at all like a slum. Anyway, so this is the focal point of Braj, the Nandagaon. Can we go ahead? So as I said, Braj is a culturally vibrant zone, a region, which is vibrant with culture. It is the site of love. Everywhere you will find signs and signages of love portraying the immortal love between Lord Krishna and Radha. So because this was the childhood romping ground of Krishna and up to his adolescence, and that is when he was with Radha. So uh, if you go to this area, Braj, you will feel as if you have walked down the time machine and you are in a different period, because people are living it out. It is, the mythology was there, but it is so alive in people's memory that they are living it out. They are, it is inbuilt into their system. So you have this is the site of love. It is the site of signals, like uh, Krishna used to stay in Nandagam and Radha used to stay in Barsana. And they used to have various meeting places where they would play together and spend time together. So there is a place called Sanket between Nandgaon and Barsana. So Sanket is the place where they used to leave signs, signals that okay, we will meet at this place at this time, and please be there. So उस जमाने में मोबाइल तो था नहीं, there was no WhatsApp, no phone, nothing. So they had to use a lot of signals and a lot of signs to communicate the time of meeting and the day of meeting. It is a place of gestures where several gestures uh, were used by Lord Krishna and Radha and their Sakya and the gopis. So it is a place of gestures and it is a place of messages, where messages are passed in the form of poetry, by singing, by dancing. So it is a site of celebration of love. It is a site of signals, of gestures, of messages. If you see a peacock feather, it symbolizes Lord Krishna. Okay, so that is the symbolism. If someone leaves a peacock flower there, feather there, it means it is Lord Krishna. He will be there or he is there, like that. Next slide. Or the color blue uh, is the color of Lord Krishna, because he, like your principal said, he was dark complexion, and river Yamuna is also dark complexion. If you have ever been to Allahabad, at the meeting point of Yamuna and Ganga, you will feel the difference. Ganges water is white and Yamuna water is black, and when they meet each other, it is a mixing of white and grey waters. So Braj is a culturally demarcated boundary, and it spans 3 states: Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Haryana. In Uttar Pradesh, part of Mathura district falls in Braj. From Rajasthan, the parts of Bharatpur district, and from Haryana, parts of Alwar district fall into this. In traditional dialect, we say Braj periphery is 84 course. That means 84 course. Course was the unit of distance, and when you travel to that area, at many places you will find this course minar, which the rulers of the past had erected for the benefit of the parikramavasi, because people do a parikrama of Braj, which is 84 course. So you can still find some course at from distance to distance, which would guide the people that okay, they have covered this much. So it was a total of 84 course. So they should have passed by 84 course minars. Okay. So in belief, it is said to Braj is said to have a periphery of 84 cores. In our um, 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 measurement system, it is about 5,000 square kilometers in area. And periphery is 84 cores. That is what people say, 84 cores ka Braj, right? And the major river is Yamuna River. And some parts of Braj fall on the east side of Yamuna, some parts fall on the west side of Yamuna. Next slide. Braj is known, as I said, Braj was the childhood place of Lord Krishna up to his adolescence. So there are many incidents in our mythology which talk of Braj Leela, where lifting of the Govardhan. Govardhan Parvat is also part of the Braj. It is the fulcrum of Braj. And the story, of course, all of you know that when there was a huge, a very heavy rainfall, Lord Krishna saved the Brajvasis by lifting the Govardhan Parvat so that everyone could uh, uh, take shelter under it and be saved from the heavy downpours. Okay, so this lifting of Govardhan is symbolized in many rituals also. Like if you go to parts of Madhya Pradesh, suddenly you will find that in courtyards they make a mound of cow dung and they erect a peacock feather on that. So that signifies the Govardhan, the incident of Govardhan. Right. So Braj is the region of Leela, the various Leelas Lord Krishna did during his childhood and adolescence. Next. Braj is the region of Ras. Now, Ras, it has become a fashion. Everyone is doing dandiya these days, but Ras originated from Braj. And what was Ras? It was the the meetings of pleasure between Krishna and Radha and the gopis. Okay, so it is a place of Ras Leela, which was very full of Shringar Ras. You had everything beautiful around you. The Lord Krishna, though dark, was a very beautiful child, and he was very attractive. He had a magnetic personality. Radha was fair. She was also having a she was very beautiful, and both were into Shringar, like the gopis would love to do Shringar of Lord Krishna, and those who are having idols of Lord Krishna at their homes, Radha and Krishna, they also do this Shringar on a daily basis. So this was a place of Shringar, of in modern language we will say uh, of getting ready, doing the makeup. So everything was full of beauty. The land was beautiful, the people were beautiful, the music was beautiful, dance was beautiful, the landscape was beautiful. And so were the waterscapes also. But the waterscapes, the beauty of waterscapes had a different definition. As you can see in these miniature paintings, at one side you see a waterscape with boats. That signifies the river Yamuna, where they would have Nauka Vihar. You know, those who do Krishna worship also know about the importance of Nauka Vihar. Like the idols of Lord Krishna are at certain period of the year, they are taken for Nauka Vihar. And if you do not have a water body, you make a small tub at home and then he is made to go for Nauka Vihar. Okay, so boat rides, using waters for boat, using water as a bathing place where you can take a nice bath. You know all these anecdotes of Lord Krishna running away with the clothes of gopis till they get what they want, and they want only butter and yogurt, dahi and chas. That was all their demand from the gopis. They did not want anything else. So Waterscape was for enjoying the water to the maximum. And the waterscape was not just for human beings. As you can see in the miniature paintings, the waterscape has many aquatic animals and the land animals on the backs. Of course, because this was based, Krishna was basically a Gwala. He was given the work of taking the cows to the forest for grazing. So there is a lot of importance of cows, and cows want to drink water from these water bodies. So at many places, I will tell you, there are gau ghats also which are used for the cows to drink water. Okay, nowadays you will find everywhere water bodies are human centric. You make ghats to reach to the water body, but here you can see water bodies which are full of birds, and the edges are full of animals, and the trees are full of flowers or fruits. Lot of importance was given to flowering trees and the fruiting trees. Okay, so the entire picture that is created is of uh, of a very vibrant place full of singing of birds, ripe smell of nice flowers and fruits, and which intoxicates for dancing. The bees are dancing, the people are also dancing, like that. Okay, so next. As I said, it was a childhood romping place of Krishna up to his adolescence. It has a very rich culture. You go to any house in Braj. I'm friends with many local people, and they invite me to their houses for having road. So they are very They are very good in their hospitality, and with they don't take any time to start singing and dancing. They are so full of love, and everyone cannot dance, everyone cannot sing. Those who are full of love and full of happiness, only those people can dance. And the area is full of festival. Every other day there is some festival, so they love festivals. The Braj area also has the ancient heritage of forests. There still are very good forests in good health. Hills, the hills are the continuation of the Aravalli range of the Rajasthan. So it has hills, it has man-made water bodies, and in Braj there is a religious ban on cutting of trees. It is not a ban imposed by any administration. It is a religious ban. The religion says that you cannot cut any trees, not just trees. You cannot cut even climbers, like you say, lata pata. So you do not damage any latas, you do not damage any pattas, right? It has about 137 sacred groves. Sacred groves are where you have plants which have sacred connotations, religious connotations. But they are in a very bad shape now, trees. Uh, Even if you do not cut trees, but if the ecology of the place changes, the trees die an untimely death. Okay, so it is in a bad shape right now, but there are some forests which are still existing in quite good condition. The two forests that are in good condition are Kokilavan and Gaharwar one. Like Kokilavan is now associated with the Shani Dev temple. There is a very famous temple of Shani there. So it becomes yes. We can go to the next slide. Anyone is saying something?
Has someone's mic turned on? Please turn it off.
Umesh will take care of this. Umesh, please. Savita ma'am, please आप start कीजिए. Don't worry.
We go to the next slide. So the waterscapes of Braj cannot exist without the forestscapes. So you will see I have deliberately used this picture because here what you see is you see the grasses which cover the ground, you see the tree and a climber climbing the tree, and you see the shrubs. You cannot see this, you can see a little bit of sky, but it is so dense that you cannot see through it. So it is a complete picture which is very, very good for the water bodies. Complete picture, I would say, because if you have just a tree, it is an incomplete picture. In nature, you never have a tree in isolation. The tree has to have its ground cover, the grasses. It has, if you know, it has to have the shrubs. If you do not have shrubs, you will not have peacocks. Because do you know where the peacock lays his eggs? Its eggs. The peacock lays its eggs in the shrubs. It does not lay its eggs on the tree. Okay, so the peahen needs the shrubs to lay her eggs, so that, and dense shrubs, so that the cats and other ground animals will not eat up her eggs. Okay, so and that extra protective cover is given by these dense grasses. So this is the type of landscape which gives healthy water bodies, because the water that flows on the surface also gets cleaned by passing through all these grasses, shrubs, and the root networks, right? So this is what is Braj. Braj, Lata, Pata. Everything is respected. Everything is loved. Next slide. Waterscapes of Braj, as I said, cannot exist without the landscapes, the forestscapes. Of course, there is agriculture because Braj is mostly rural area. So there is agriculture. You can see a sarso field, but the edge of the field is having these natural grasses, which are quite beautiful, which if you go to Haryana, they call it junda. कि कहीं पे भी उग जाता है. It is like झुंडा गुंडा type. They have some saying like that कि कहीं पे भी उग जाता है. But in nature, it is doing a great ecological service. We are not going into great detail because that will make another lecture. But what I want to bring home is a wall of vegetation has been created. You cannot see through. And this wall of vegetation is extremely important in ecological terms. If you have just a tree trunk and the ground, it is only half the story. You go to the movie and you pay the full ticket, you are in full mood of enjoyment, and they just show you the trailer and say, okay, bye bye. So you will not feel very good. So when we have just an isolated tree, it is just a trailer of this of the entire picture. It is not a complete picture. This is complete picture. So Braj gives you wholesome landscapes in which water is a part. Next. So waterscapes of Braj are actually celebration of water, and not just water. This picture I have taken as because there is a Leela of Lord Krishna which is called Jal Krida, where they are playing in the water. The Lord Krishna had Radha as a principal Saki, but he had 8 more Sakhiyas, and then he had this big following of the gopis. So all used Radha and the Sakhis used to play together because they were all children. They used to play together, and this shows a water body where they are having Jal Krida, they are swimming. Anyone who lives on the banks of Yamuna will know how to swim. And so everyone knew swimming, and they would swim, and there would be ducks, there would be swans, there would be uh, other birds which I will show you in due course of time. The water edge would be vegetated. You could see lotus here, and then you would find so many grasses with flowers and shrubs with flowers. So it denotes a healthy water body where the edges are all vegetated, because the health of the water body is also dependent on its aquatic life. The fish needs a soft edge. It will lay its eggs on the sides of the water body. Only when it is soft, it is having some grass cover. Then only it will lay its eggs and get multiplied and keep the water in good health. If the edge is concretized, fish will disappear from there because उसको egg देने के लिए जगह ही नहीं रहेगी. Next. So some more information, what makes these water bodies and this area so special. Braj, Raj is another term which is very common. Raj is the soil of bread, which is almost like golden yellow in color. And people worship that Braj. Many people don't wear shoes while they are in the Braj region. They walk barefoot because the Raj, the soil, is the soil where Lord Krishna played. So it is a soil to be worshipped. In scientific terms, this soil is very, very fertile. It gives you very good crops. So your homes are full of food. There is nothing lacking in this region. So the scientific reasons are that it falls into gangetic plain. It has an alluvium soil with a very thick layer, 200 to 300 meter thick. And as I said, the hills are an extension of the Aravalli range. The aquifers is the groundwater storage, nature storage. So the first aquifer occurs at 30 to 80 meters below the ground, and the second aquifer occurs at 125 to 175 meter below the ground. And the water table is just 5 to 10 meter below the ground. Pre-monsoon, that is before the monsoon also it is 5 to 10. And after the monsoon, it has a rise of 0.5 to 1 meter. So the soil is full of water. It can support crops, it can grow. Excuse me. The forest can be in good health over there. So in the Braj area, besides the river Yamuna, there are around 300 ponds and sarovars which are still existing, though in a very bad shape. Sometimes people say this pond should be filled up because it is so dirty. But whatever it is, there are 300 ponds and sarovars in whatever shape they are still existing because they are protected by religious belief. This figure I have written wrong. It is not 18, it is 180. About 180 cones have been surveyed by Braj Foundation of UP, which is a non-profit organization, and they have done a proper survey of the cones. So please correct it. It is 180 cones, not 180, not 18. Next. Now, waterscapes of Braj. As I showed you in earlier miniature pictures, and I take my clues from the miniature pictures because the artists, when they make paintings, they draw their inspiration from poetry and literature. And poetry and literature paint a picture very close to how it used to be. So as I said, the waterscapes of Braj had an edge which was vegetated, which had trees which would either flower or fruit, and it will feed so many insects and animals. There would be land animals also, and there would be aquatic animals, and there would be aquatic vegetation. So this is the complete picture of waterscapes of Braj. Everything is beautiful. Everything is, the waterscapes also produce flowers. Right? Next. Again, in this you see it is you can see the river edge, the Yamuna river edge. Okay, and the flowing water, the little streams that are there. So you will find, if you see closely, that all the river edge is vegetated. It has grass, it has trees, and the water is having lot of lotuses. Lotus is not bad for the health of the water. There are other aquatic vegetations which are not really good for the health of the water. But lotus is doing great ecological services. It is actually lotus grows on a marshy land, and marshes have their very important role in the ecosystem. Okay, so Krishna's pictures were wholesome pictures. They were all inclusive. Nature, the all types of life will make up his set for enjoyment and pleasure. Next. So the waterscapes were not only for looking, but going into. So it was a waterscape where they shallow waterscapes where they could wade into the waterscape. There would be deeper spaces where you can swim. Like in a swimming pool, you have different heights. The floor of a swimming pool is a sloping floor. Somewhere you can wade and somewhere you can swim, somewhere you can dive. So the waterscapes, the natural waterscapes and man-made waterscapes were such where you could, at places you could wade, you can see lotuses, that means it is shallow, where you can wade you can touch the delicate lotus flowers, and in deeper waters you can swim. The right hand side picture also shows the vegetated edge of the water and the grasses and the fruit and flower bearing trees, and which paints the full picture, the wholesomeness, the fertility of the place. And even in this tree you can see the lata going up. So the climbers are an integral part of a landscape where you can have very good water bodies. Next. Again, these are some more miniature paintings which paint the real picture of the character of the waterscapes of Braj. Then most of these waterscapes that I have shown you were almost natural waterscapes. But here on the right hand side, you see a man-made waterscapes, a pond, a kund. So Braj has many kunds, and this is a kund where you have uh, lotuses planted in it. So it is not a flowing water body, it is a kund to have fish and lotus and birds there. Next. Then came the built edges of the waterscape. So here you will find that because going through the grasses, you may get bitten by a snake. You may dirty your clothes in the wet mud. So for ease of use of water, man started building the edges. So this is a painting which shows the built up edges, the making of the ghats. Ghats are mainly for human centric use. You want to go to the water without dirtying your feet in the wet mud. You want to sit on the edge of the water without being bitten by insects and other snakes. So you had these built up edges to the water. And you can see here the gopis are swimming and they have kept their clothes on the built up edges, and the and Krishna and his friends would the story goes that they stole the clothes of the gopis. Next. So it shows a lot of playfulness and branches reaching down to the water where they could uh, uh, swing into the water like that. The water bodies, as I said, were wading pools also. Wherever you see lotus, that means it is shallow water body and it is serving as a wading pool where you feel very good, and you have small built up or natural islands over there where you can spend your time in leisure. So you had waterscapes of Braj were mainly, here you can see the cows also. So waterscapes of Braj were also meant for cows. Cows don't swim in the water like buffalo would get into the water, but cows they don't like to get wet. So cows would always drink water and keep dry, very neat and clean, not like buffaloes. So water bodies were for the cows, for the birds, for the ducks, for different type of animals. Next. So I will take you through two main water bodies near Nandagam, which are of great importance. I will not concentrate on very built up type of water bodies, which you have in Mathura, Vrindavan. All are built up human centric. I'm taking you to the water bodies which show the character of the Braj, which the prelude I showed you in the paintings. they were full of life. The moment you build up the edge, half of the life recedes. Okay, so this is a existing kund which is called Larita Kund. Larita was a Saki of Radha Krishna and a very important Saki because she used to facilitate the meeting of Krishna with Radha. She was a principal Saki, and this is the place where she used to arrange the meeting, and she also made Radha a swing for Radha and Krishna. So there is a structure over here. Of course, it is recent. The earlier swings were on the trees. So some bhakt has made a big structure denoting that this is the place where Larita Saki had made Krishna and Radha swing. And there are many stories about that. Some say that this is the place where Larita got married to Lord Krishna. There are so many stories about it. Then Radha got angry, then she was appeased and all that. So the place is full of stories, and the stories keep this kund alive. It is still alive. There are peacocks around, there are beautiful trees. Next. So you see one of the edge of the lily. All these built up edges were made during 18th and the 19th centuries. Before that, they were just natural edge kunds that you see in the miniature paintings. But there is, like you see these beautiful trees which are very significant in that area, which is called the Pilu tree. Pilu tree was very a favorite of Lord Krishna. So you have historic Pilu trees in this area, and the area is full of these trees. Next. This is the place near at Larita Kund. You see that gateway type, which is actually erected by Bhakt, and on it they have a swing. So, and in front is a pilu tree. Actually, the swing was on the pilu tree. Pilu tree has a long life, and but this structure has been made for the swing to relive that memory. Then the place also has a temple which is called Larita Saki Temple, in which you see Lord Krishna in the center, flanked by Larita Saki and Radha. So both were his friends, and they are on his both the sides. Next. There is another kund which is alive due to the memory, due to the intangible heritage of memory, which is the Krishna Kund. This is also in Nandagam. These kunds are water collecting in natural depressions and also fed by the underground aquifers. Like these are dug up kunds, right? So this is still living. People come here where you see this huge water tank. The recent water tank used to be the Gau Ghat where the cows would come and drink water. But now cows have been cut off from this area by making a boundary. So the story about Krishna Kund was Krishna used to go and Nand, Baba Nand, his adopted father, had about 1.25 lakh cows. So he was taking all these cows to the forest for grazing. So when they were coming back, he would count, he would be wearing, Krishna was always wearing jewelry. So he would count the cows with the help of the beads in his necklace. So with each bead, he will take the name of the cow and he will uh, count it with the beads, with the help of the beads. So he would sit in one corner under a kadam tree. He loved kadam tree. This place was full of kadam trees. Now they have disappeared because the ecology of this place has changed. So, and when the counting would get completed, he would dance with joy. So this kund is related with the counting Leela of Lord Krishna, where he would call out the name of each cow, and when she would enter Nandagam, he would count it with the beat. And when the counting was complete, he would dance with joy. So there was a place where he would dance, there was a place where the cows will drink water and then enter the Nandagam, which was on the hill. So they would climb up to the hill to go to their resting place. Next. Then we have other waterscapes also, like this is called the Shyam Kund and the Radha Kund. This is right there in Govardhan, right? So you have a Shyam Kund and a Radha Kund, which are close together, almost shaking hands or almost hugging each other. So you have the Krishna Kund and the Shyam Kund in Govardhan. Next. Um, as I said, nothing was only for human beings. Nothing was only for human. So there is a big population of monkeys in entire Vrindavan, in entire Braj area, and this is the view of the Shyam Kund adjoining Radha Kund, and you can see a lot of monkeys. And now Lata Pata to hai nahi, so they have painted Lata Pata on the walls. Otherwise, originally, there were live lata pata, that means trees and climbers going over it, full of flowers. Next. Another view of the Shamkund. Next. With a very built up edge. You have houses around, you have temples around. It is not like Lalita Kund and Krishna Kund, which are having forest around them. These two cones are totally built up edges. Next. Then you have the famous Kusum Sarovar, where they have the tourism department has created a very famous light and sound, or they are about to do it. I have not seen it. But Kusum Sarovar has the chhatris of the Jat king Surajmal. He was from Bharatpur, so he made his chhatri and the chhatri of his two wives at the edge of this Kusum Kund. So this is also 18th century, very recent, and this is a kund with a totally built up edge all around. Next. So now we come to the actual waterscapes of Braj, which are still there. So these are the images of the actual waterscapes of Braj, to which even the migratory birds are coming. These waterscapes are not listed waterscapes. These waterscapes are not having any religious connotations, but because they are on the Braj Bhumi, they have a lot of importance and they are protected by the people. So I will take you to a journey of such waterscapes which are still living in their original beauty. Let me see if this is a video. Just a second. Just a second. No, this is not a video. Okay, so you can see many type of birds. We have identified more than 50 birds in this little water body. It is just a waterlogged area. It is not any water listed water body. But as I said, the entire Braj Mandal of Jurassic Coast is worshipped. Every piece of land is worshipped. So whatever water is there, it is also protected by the people. Next. The ducks, they love to come here and feed themselves. Next. So and when we come closer to the bank, you see the what is left by the human beings. They come for picnic over here, for religious gatherings over here, prasad, agarbatti, everything, and they leave all the leftover on these edges. So the earlier edges that I showed you in miniature paintings, and in some places there are still the original type of vegetated edges are now replaced by garbage edges. This is the edge of the same water body where you saw the beautiful ducks. You can see them at a distance, but closer to you, you go there for a picnic, have nice this thing. There is a big katha, you have prasad, you leave everything over there. And this is slowly, and this is not done by the Brajvasis. This is done by the tourists who come there, who have no emotional connect with the place. They do all this garbage. Next. So again, I come to what someone, I don't know how you felt it like us. It's a beautiful hillock with beautiful houses. You have to go and see them, make a study of this village. So I come to my favorite Nandagam and the surrounding water bodies. Larita Kund and the Krishna Kund I showed are in near the same water body which I show you in this picture, in which you can see the reflection of Nandagam. Next. The air is full of beautiful birds. You see, the state bird of Uttar Pradesh is Saras crane. You find Saras is flying. You find flamingos coming here. You find so many beautiful birds beautifying even the skies. Next. And of course, peacock is Krishna's favorite, and he wears the feathers of peacock on his head. And we know what is the importance of peacock in the ecology. So therefore, and India has made peacock as its national bird, not without any reason. It is with a reason, because peacock is performing great ecological services. Now many people have started making an estimate of how much money these animals and plants save. Like for example, today with Corona, you have to have oxygen plants. You have to build oxygen plants to manufacture oxygen. But here the trees are natural oxygen plants. They are, the pilu tree is giving so much of oxygen. The people tree in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, among all the trees, I'm the people tree. He says he is the people tree among all the trees. So there is symbolism. As I said, this is a land of symbolism. There is symbolism here. So every people tree is 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 looked at as Lord Krishna. There is this ficus Krishni, a bird tree which has leaves which are like scoops. So Krishna and his sakhas would sit on the branches of Ficus Krishni of this tree, and they would pluck leaves of this tree. And नीचे से गोपियां जा रही हैं with their matkis full of butter. They would took from the branches and dig their the cup-shaped leaves into the butter pots और ऊपर ऊपर से पूरा बटर खा जाते थे एंड गोपीज वुड नॉट नो अबाउट इट क्योंकि वो ऊपर से आके पत्ती से ही निकाल के सो दिस ट्री it is a banyan tree, a type of banyan tree which has cup-shaped leaves. And it is a perfect scoop. If you forget a spoon sometime and if you have a tree over there, you can eat your meal with that because it is a perfect scoop. You can scoop out anything and eat comfortably. So it was used by Krishna to scoop out butter from the pots of the gopis. Next. The gopis are still there. The waterscapes are not just for fun and frolic and leisure and swimming and playing. It is also a source of water. And in many parts of Braj, people do not have piped water supply. But there is enough water around so that people who do not have piped water supply still collect water from these kunds, which is very clean water, and take home. So these are the modern day gopis who are collecting water from these kunds and taking home. Next. So now I start with my videos. So I will need to share the screen. Can I share the screen now? I will straight away. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. You can share this.
Yeah, I will share this. Just to give you an idea of the type of landscapes we are talking of. These are just short videos which tell you, which will be able to portray what I mean by waterscape, the real waterscapes of Braj, which are supporting other life forms also. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, ma'am. Your screen is visible.
एक सेकेंड वो साउंड का मैं करना भूल गई स्क्रीन शेयर स्क्रीन के टाइम
But the video is not getting played.
हाँ नहीं जस्ट अ सेकेंड मैं इसका वो साउंड वाला ऑप्शन करना भूल गई Can you see the video?
The video is.
Can you see the video?
Yeah, but it's kind of breaking in between.
Should I
Yeah,
play
and there is no audio.
Audio is not very important because in audio you see because they have drowned the sound of the. Should I play directly from the main? Just let me see. Can you see the screen now? The video.
Yes, ma'am. Now it is very clear.
So this shows the character of the water body in Braj. It's a huge waterlogged area, and you are having all these uh, beautiful birds, which are very large birds also, and you have the smaller birds, and there is a lot of fish. This is a shallow water body, right? It is not a deep water body. In shallow water bodies, you can have a vegetation on the surface, which these birds like to eat. I will share the next video now. Can you see the screen? Can you see the screen?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
These are the saddest things, and which is the largest flying bird in the world. When it flies, it stands about 2 meters, and the piece, this plates and the edges have been extremely round. There are some migratory birds. There are types. The the painted stock eating, having the fish. It is the stock which is having the fish. In the miniature paintings, I had shown you the ducks, and they are still there, and um, they have a lot of fun there. And these are shallow water bodies. Remember, shallow water bodies invite different types of birds. You will not find them in deep water bodies, because what are they eating? They are eating these. You will see this bird taking out this little weed from the water. Okay, because in shallow water bodies, because sun rays can penetrate to the base of this shallow water body, so a sort of weed grows there, and which is not weed actually, an aquatic vegetation. So I'm showing you this picture because here it is very clear the duck is taking out this vegetation from the the shallow bottom of the lake and is eating that. I think it was started all over again.
Um,
Yes?
yeah, ma'am. You could play the next video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've started there. These are the painted stalks which are migratory here, and a big group has arrived on the banks, and they are nesting, laying the eggs. You can see some females sitting on their eggs, and they need this grassland which I showed in the pictures that you have the grasslands. They need these grasses, not shrubs, because these birds have huge feather, though it is not as large as Sarah's crane. Sarah's crane needs a nice 2 meter, so she would require a, a, a very clear land, where the feathers cannot get caught in the shrubs and the grass. So a Sarus crane prefers the agricultural fields actually because the crops are not very high. They are of a specified height only. So these are the painted stocks who are visiting Braj. This is during winters. Now you don't find them there. These are migratory. These images I'm showing because this is a shallow water body where half of the grass is over the water, half is under the water. So these ducks are foraging into it. They find their small insects and the weeds that they eat. This has a very important, these shallow water bodies have a very important role in the ecology. Then you have these Pankawas, which is the water crow, and this is again a flamingo, which is also visiting Braj, and it is being followed by flamingo के पैरों से गिर जाता है so it gets some insects, it does dive. So it's enjoying in the front you find this still the very sharp. So these that a lot of migratory birds and therefore they play a big role in the ecology of the place. Now it's that it, 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 it has come. Okay, so it keeps on going like this. Again it has done. So the waterscape of Braj is full of play, not just by human beings, but by all creations of the God. The Pankawas and the this is the grey heron. Grey heron is a, a huge bird who would live near. So this seems as if he is taking a lecture. The grey heron is taking a lecture of the Pankawas. All us. So this type of water body shows that there is certain islands on the water body. In the miniature paintings also I showed you certain island sort of places which have their own importance. While swimming, the gopis and Krishna would rest on these islands, and so are these birds. They are also drying their feathers in the on the islands. Then a big these are the kids. They laid the eggs. Now kids have come out, and you will see they still do not have that bright color on their wings, which comes in due course. So all these kids are all together. They are juveniles, and this egg. So these are the waterscapes of Braj, one where we should protect and appreciate, because this is what the real Braj is. Ghats and all are all for religion. Now this is a very funny video of a spoonbill. It has a beak like a spoon. So this is a juvenile going after his mother, and the mother is telling him how to feed himself, how. So that is all with the videos. Now we can, I don't think I have only one more slide, that is the thank you slide.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for a mesmerizing session which you have presented before us today. I'm sure the audience would agree that it was a treat, and the way you integrated nature very beautifully to architecture and people, and also how the culture tightly weaves the landscape with the built form.
This last slide, just a second, this last slide is also very important. It is of a dried grassland, which becomes a romping ground for these water hens. These are blue in color, almost like a peacock with bright red beaks, and they forage on this landscape. So these are dried, the shallow water bodies, the edges become dry in during summers, and these are the dried aquatic vegetation, and these water hens, they lay their eggs here. So the importance of what I am saying here is that whenever we see a water body, or when the development happens, the first thing developers do is they make the edges solid. They make it either ghats, or they make it concretized, and that kills that water body. That takes the life out of that. But Braj, and I showed you specific examples where the real essence of waterscapes of Braj is evident. Okay, now you can. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really a treat. So, but then, like in today's times, the very first observation was that, the entire landscape looks like a slum, perhaps. So that is clearly an indication that it is indeed the need of the hour to preserve, conserve, and, pass on the traditional wisdom of respecting nature through built form to future generations. So with this, we would like to open our question and answer session to the audience. So actually, the first question is from me itself. So before the others ask, I would like to ask, just like the humble city of Braj falling prey to appearing something like slums to us urban dwellers, in my personal experience, I've also come across various other world cities like that of Baroda, which comes to be called a slum. Would you like to throw some light on the organic nature of these humble built settlements, and how people and nature are, connected through the built form.
Yes. See, anything that is very vernacular or very down to earth need not be slum. The definition of slum is where it has gone over its carrying capacity. There is no sewage network, there is no services, and people are living in unhealthy conditions. That is what is a slum. But here it is, if you go to Nandagam, Nandagam was the childhood romping place of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna signifies beauty. Everyone does shringar of idols of Lord Krishna as for no one else. Lord Rama का इतना श्रृंगार नहीं होता, शिव जी का इतना श्रृंगार नहीं होता, but Lord Krishna is the god of shringar and beauty and music, dance. He is always dancing with happiness or with whatever, even when he is not very happy when he left Radha. So it is very important to know the definition of development. What is development?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. In case your screen sharing is still on, I would just request you to kind of stop the screen sharing.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. You may.
Is it over? Is it over now, screen sharing?
Yes, ma'am. You may proceed. You may proceed.
So it is very important to understand the definition of development. What is development? Is living in very modern, fully equipped, shiny buildings, good road network, going in expensive cars. Is it development? Or, but if you analyze that development, just see how much of heat gain you are giving to the environment, how much of carbon you are releasing in the environment, how much of sewage that is Bombay leaves its sewage to the sea. Okay. मैंने शायद last time इसी lecture में example दिया था that when we got married, we went to Bombay and I was at the Juhu beach and I was enjoying the sea and the waves coming and hitting against me. And my husband, who is from Bombay, he was staying away from the waves. I said, I was feeling very peculiar, why is not coming in the wave? So then he said very, very calmly, just imagine you are enjoying the sewage of Mumbai. And then he showed me so many overflowing septic tanks at the Juhu beach and how the sewage is released into the sea. And sea is very clever. It gives back whatever it takes from you. So you feel you are releasing the sewage in the sea, but it is giving you all that back. So so just imagine how much of dirty water we are giving to the nature. But as compared, I'm not saying Nandagam is not polluting, but the degree of pollution is lesser. People are walking, they are not using cars or heavy vehicles, so they are not releasing so much of carbon. They are having good interaction with each other. Today in urban areas, people are not having that type of interaction. People are isolated. There are so many cases when someone dies and nobody gets to know about it. So people are isolated. Here, everyone knows everyone else, and they want to, if you visit, they want to know you also. And they would offer you not just chai, but meals. And in urban areas, people look at visitors with suspicion कि ये घर में आके हमारा चोरी करेगा, murder करेगा. Okay, so you don't even stop your car if you find someone fallen on the road because you are suspicious. You feel he's doing acting and he would take your purse or attack you, whatever. So there is, I would say, Nandagam, it looks simple, very humble, but it has that quality of life which bigger cities have lost it. So size or the size is not a symbol of progress. The vastness or bigness or um, the great massive size is not the sign of development. Development is where you have a quality of life, where you can smile, you can laugh, you can dance at one go, and you can sing songs. That is the quality of life, where everyone is healthy. You know, in Nandagaon, there was no COVID case. In Barsana, no COVID case. Only COVID cases were brought by the pilgrims who were coming from Bombay. And but there was no casualty. अगर किसी को हुआ भी तो he got well very fast. So what is this? It is showing that there is a quality of life which gives immunity to the people against anything that is harmful. So I would say there is a difference between a slum and a humble rural settlement.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering that one. There are a lot of questions along with thank yous coming for your presentation. So the first question I would like to ask you is coming from a student, our student named Jaidatta. He thanks you for the wonderful visual journey through the Waterscapes of Braj. And he's asking, are there any policies with regards to waste management in place to retain the beauty of the place?
Actually, all the panchayats and the government are going in for sewage treatment plants now, but as such, as of now, there is no sewage treatment going on. So there is raw sewage entering the water bodies at many places. But the difference is why these water bodies are still living and are not eutrophicated to a great extent is that the sewage that is released is not a focused release. It is at multi-spots. So when it is multi-spots, the impact becomes lesser. When it is focused, then it is the water is taken by surprise. All the pollutants coming all at once. So the sewage release is a delayed release. It follows a natural nalis and all where it gets percolated or whatever. So ultimately, the water bodies get a very diluted form of wastewater. And therefore, they are still existing. I showed you Krishna Kund and Larita Kund. Water was clean over there. People can drink from there because it has its aquatic life in place. The fish clean the water, the grasses on the edge से जो गंदा पानी बह के आ रहा है, the roots clean that water. So ultimately what reaches the actual water body is not very harmful. So you have this root cleaning system in place. But now they are putting up these sewage treatment plants everywhere.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
So they have policy in place, but it is yet to be fully effective.
Okay. Okay. So the next question comes from another student of CTS, Isha. She's again thanking you for your presentation and that it covered so many aspects. Isha is curious to know if there has been any attempt to conserve the areas or programs conducted that are crucial to preserve these narratives of Radha Krishna.
See, as with Radha Krishna, all these narratives are actually conserved by the people themselves. Everyone is full of story. If you travel there, you sit for chai somewhere. You will be listening to 10 different stories. Everyone is full of stories. The entire air is full of these stories, and you feel as if Radha Krishna are just next to you. They are still living, they are still romping around in this area. It because the narratives are so full of life. ऐसा लगता ही नहीं they are talking of some mythological figures or some figures of the past. They are living there. If you go to Barsana, every lady, every girl is called Radha. So they say, or like if you pay for, you have bought something and you pay, and then they say, or the shop owners, they call for you, आप क्या लोगे राधे. So it is all Radhamai, it is all Krishnamai. So the time, it is very, very peculiar to be there, because here uh, the centuries mean nothing. It is the Radha Krishna and gopis are living in the memories of the people. So there are various attempts. ISKCON is also doing. There are many NGOs who are trying to preserve this. There are many sannyasis and babas who are trying to. Like I found a very nice book which was shown to me by a priest of a very small temple. The book was written by a Sanskrit scholar who was appointed as a teacher in a government school. उसी ने research करके he wrote a very nice book. So there are lot of literature on the narratives of Braj. Many things are not written; they are still alive in songs and music and dance. But all these narratives are there. What I get from this question is any centralized documentation has to be there, because all these documentations are in by various people. The centralized documentation, much of it is being done by the tourism department and the Department of Culture, which is quite nice, but ISKCON has also done it. But you will have to go to various places to get this. There is no centralized place for all these narratives.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, we have a good number of questions coming in. So the next question comes from Professor Mrunmay Gowri from CTS College. She's also thanking you for the wonderful presentation. It took us through a wonderful journey of mythology, faith, and respect towards natural resources. Can you please elaborate if there's a regional connection between the styles of preserving water in the mythologically important cities related to Krishna?
See, there are attempts, like earlier the Rajas would protect these water bodies because Krishna is worshipped in most parts of India. So a Raja from Bharatpur, he he made up the Kusum Sarovar. Even Ahilyabai from Maheshwar in Madhya Pradesh, she also built many ghats in Mathura on the Yamuna side. So many kings and queens have been doing it, trying to conserve the water bodies, which is now being done by the government also. They are taking up these water bodies and conserving them. But as you will find, most of the people who try to save these water bodies are doing it by making a boundary wall first to keep away the people, the trespassers. Because the moment you make a solid boundary wall, that the concept of that Krishna's water body is lost. So my talk today was aimed, as you must have noticed, I have not taken examples of very built up water spaces. Like I have not talked of the Mansi Ganga, which is a sacred pond. These are all totally built up. So they have lost the real essence and connection with Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna was of nature. कौन पहनता है सिर पे मोर का पंख? Okay, it is a symbol that okay, the birds have to be integrated in your development. अब कुसुम सरोवर में I did not find any bird. Peacock भी नहीं था. I found the birds and other things in such water bodies which were almost natural. Almost we can relate it to the mythological conception of the water body. Okay, so there have been attempts in conserving the water bodies, but they were mainly religious intentions, not ecological intentions. So there is a difference. Religious intention means आप उसको साफ सुथरा करोगे, उसको सुंदर बनाओगे, you would decorate it. But ecological or getting hints, deriving your clues from mythological descriptions is not being done. Most water bodies are getting urbanized. They are done by designers, architects, and planners who are more happy with or who do not understand the qualities of water, what water likes. They are more concerned about what men and women like. They are not concerned about what water likes. Water likes aquatic life. You keep it away. Is it okay? My answer?
Yes, ma'am. I completely agree with you that we have this, like we want to build, and invariably we end up like building everywhere. And
So when you said that this will be the backdrop of the lecture, I said okay, but I was not very happy because I was not covering such type of water bodies. I was talking of ecological, the design that is respecting water.
right, ma'am. So the next question comes from Professor Sunanda Satwa. So she's asking, how has Waterscapes tradition contributed to the architecture of Braj aside from temple architecture and paintings?
The waterscapes of Braj have like when men and water they live together, there is a lot of this, what I would say, hydraulic architecture coming in. Okay, there are wells, you pull out water, so that is a clear example of hydraulic architecture. But then you have step wells, though in Braj you do not have step wells because water is abundant. It is on the Indo-Gangetic plain, and the sun is not very harsh. You do not need to keep your water under shadow. You have enough trees. Braj has a lot of forest area which gives the shade to the water body, protecting it from evaporation. So I would say that how waterscapes have affected architecture is other than temples and this thing. Um, Most of the waterscapes are surrounded by the habitation, but habitation has been kept at a distance. The cones that come inside the habitation, like the sacred cone and all, they have been built upon as temples. They are within temple complexes. Like for example, if we take I'm giving another example from another landscape. Like in Ujjain, you have this sacred cone, the Koti teeth. It was a natural cone. It is a groundwater fed cone. But we have built temple around it and made a temple of the water. In Narmada Udgam, where Narmada is coming out, it is coming out of the ground, but we have made temples on that point where water is coming out of the ground. Okay, so but in Braj you do not find this. In Braj, the habitation is kept away from the water body, respecting the function, because in Braj it is Lata Pata Jal. Jal is supposed to be accompanied with Lata Pata. That means pear, climbers, ground cover, shrubs, and then water. That is the typology. उसमें habitation नहीं आता है, right? Habitation is at a distance कि वहां से गंदा पानी जब तक बह के आए, ये सब लता पताओं की वजह से वो clean होके आए. So I would say the architecture, how it has been affected by these waterscapes is that the architecture has kept itself away from these. वो टेम्पल में कन्वर्ट कर दिया वाटर बॉडी को, जैसा मैं बोल रही हूँ नर्मदा के उद्गम पे टेम्पल बना दिया. The water itself has been templified. Temple, I don't know whether templified is a word or not, but I am sure you get what I mean.
Yes, totally, ma'am.
So all these pavitra cones, sacred cones have been converted into temples, built up kar diya pura. So it is very recent. It is not done by the Brajvasis. It is done by people who have come outside of Braj. वो डोनेशन कर दिया कि ये राजा महाराजा आए हैं, इन्होंने ये घाट बनवा दिए. For the facility of the people, not for the facility of the water. The Brajvasi will respect water. Water has its own requirements. But so I would say the waterscapes of Braj have affected architecture by way that architecture keeps itself away from it. Quite away from it. Does not come near.
Yeah.
वाटर के पर लता पता और यही होना चाहिए.
Okay, ma'am. So one of the attendees is asking, how is the development in and around these water bodies being controlled? is it being controlled?
It is being controlled. Like there are rules that you have to leave a buffer of so many meters from the water body. But in panchayats, there is no rule. Like many water bodies are up to right there. The water body area has been demarcated that this is the water body, but the edge is not demarcated. The water body will have a different level in pre-monsoon and a different level post-monsoon. तो वो edge पर किसी ने define नहीं करी. So in panchayats you will find in villages at some places the buildings are coming right up to the edge of the water body because there is no control. But slowly now people are realizing the importance of the waterscapes, and there are rules and regulations. But at the town planning level, there are rules, but provided there is a master plan done in for rural areas, very few places have a master plan. Okay, पंचायत में तो अभी कुछ भी करते हैं. So there is no hard and fast laid down rules for the water bodies and the natural waterscapes that are there in Braj. What is left is only because of religious protection by the people themselves. That is why it is left. Otherwise, it still needs a concentrated way, what I would say,
like a formal course.
all encompassing rules and regulations which control all the water. It should not be one water body ka alag rule, dusre ka alag. It should all are interconnected. As I said, there is an aquifer running there. So all are interconnected in a way. So the rules and regulations need to be developed in a wholesome manner for the entire Braj, which are not there. They are there in isolation, in pockets.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Entire Braj does not have.
Yeah, I'll take the next question. This question comes from Professor Anuprita, again from CTS College. As you said, water is for all creations of God and not only for human beings. But when humans start building and curbing the banks, it must be disrupting the ecosystem on the banks of the water body. How do you propose it to be restored?
At many places, the ecosystem has been totally disturbed, the ecosystem of the banks. Like I said, where will the fish lay its eggs if you build up that edge? Okay, so the fish will disappear from there, right? So, so how to restore it is very difficult because many of these, I would say, encroachments, अभी तो illegal encroachment code which are defined illegal, it is very difficult to remove even illegal encroachments. और यहाँ तो define भी नहीं हुई whether they are illegal, because in panchayats people, whoever is powerful, whoever has money, वो ज़्यादा land area लेके cover कर लेगा. So when you have private properties, it becomes very difficult. Either you have a big public movement, educate the people that no, you leave this much space for, this is the space of the water and this is related with Lord Krishna. But in private property, it becomes very difficult. So I would say it cannot be done. So for restoration, I would say that whatever space is left, like I will show you one picture, which is a very good example for this session. Just a second. It becomes very important that I share this picture with you. It is from the Krishna Kund, and the houses are built right up to the edge of the Krishna Kund. And
Ma'am,
of
are you
course,
sharing? Are you
no,
sharing it by any
no,
chance?
I have not started. I am just looking for that picture, but I will share right now. Just a second. Can you see this picture?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
This is the edge of Krishna Kund. Okay. So recently Panchayat has made this pavement. So beyond this pavement, you can see the wetland over here. Right? So you can see this corner as a wetland, which is part of the Krishna Kund. And these houses form the boundary of the Krishna Kund. Okay. So if there were any rules and regulation, and you can see all the pipelines, all the sewage opening into, not directly into it, but into this nali.
Yeah, into
This
also the
nali,
ground.
yeah. And this nali is leading away from the Krishna Kund, but ultimately it enters Krishna Kund. But there is this time lag.
Okay.
उसमें थोड़ा वो dilute हो जाता है, right?
Okay. Okay.
So now the question is, how will you restore
Restore.
it?
Yeah.
Restoring is impossible. You cannot take off these people. They are living there. They have spent their money, hard-earned money over here. Okay, so the restoration would mean, one, do something about this sewage that is coming here. Two, ये जो distance है between this built up and this wetland, that can be designed as a natural border of the lake. And that itself will do wonders for the health of the water. You get my point? So restoration will mean almost a corrective action कि भाई जितना हो सके with whatever limited scope you have, you do something. So because private property you cannot touch. If it was government property, government can easily give it. But if it is private property, you just cannot touch. And if there was any religious place, then you just cannot touch it. Okay. So, but still there is room for doing corrections, and you can do corrections at this stretch.
Okay. So corrections of like, are you hinting at something specific?
Corrections means how you will design this space between the built and the wetland.
All right. All right.
जहाँ पे उन्होंने वो पैसेज walkway बनाया है, you do away with that and you restore it. This distance between the water body and the built edge, you can really do something about it so that you can design it in an eco-sensitive manner. So that way, many water bodies can be restored.
Right. Right, ma'am. So I think this
wherever
is
there is a scope.
okay. So I think we have come to almost the last question that I have received. This comes from Professor Divya Subramaniam, who is also an environmental planner. So she's asking how will eco-cultural tourism help the reimagined heritage and landscape reinstate the sacred Braj region? Would you like me to repeat this?
Very good. No. Very good.
Okay.
The eco-cultural tourism. Number one, uh, this Braj area is actually a perfect destination for eco-cultural tourism. And if you highlight it and you have your management plan, a development plan with eco-cultural tourism, you can really conserve the Braj area very well. It is going to help because it is there in the memory of the people. Somewhere the memory and the physical world is suffering from a disconnect, but it is there in the memory. So
Hmm.
if it is there in the memory, it is very easy to restore and to link the culture and ecology. See, Braj is a, a wonderful example of eco-cultural tourism, where the tourism is mainly
Hmm.
religious tourism. It is a
Right.
pilgrimage destination.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you link it with tourism, it is already having a lot of tourism. But if you have this connotation of eco-cultural tourism, it is going to educate people for other areas also. So it is certainly good to have, but it needs a lot of work.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so thank you so much, ma'am. We've almost come towards the end of the question answer session, and really thanks to your responses, your enthusiastic responses to all the queries asked. We would now like to invite our principal, okay, Professor Alka Tavri, to share her views. Over to you, Alka, ma'am.
Yeah, so it was a wonderful journey, Didi, again through Braj. And I don't know how many of attendees have gone to Vrindavan or Mathura or these places. When you are near the Yamuna River, the soil, like architect Savita was talking about, it's a very fine soil, little bit yellowish in color and very fine. And the soil is not sticking to your shoes or dresses. It just stays there. It's a very fine soil, which is a characteristic of that whole area, Chambal and surrounding areas. Chambal is also a tributary to Yamuna. Chambal also is known for the similar ravines of Chambal are known for similar kind of soil treatment. And yes, the trees are there, and it is called Kunj Galiya. So you can still
Yes.
see the brick paved gully. मैं अब काफी time हो गया. I think I've been there last, I think 30 years or so. I've not been. I'm not sure अब कितना change हुआ होगा, but yes, when I had visited last, I still remember. I think Swami Haridas का जो एक small pavilion है, and then the courtyard is there.
Yeah.
And उस courtyard में जो तुलसी के plant हैं, they don't grow vertical. They come down to the soil, and they say these are gopis. जो रज बोला सविता दीदी ने, वो कृष्ण और राधा और ये गोपियां रास करती हैं, और वो जो उनकी चरण धूली है उसको लेने के लिए वो टच करती हैं. सो दे डोंट गो वर्टिकल, दे गो डाउन एंड टच द ग्राउंड. These stories are so ingrained in that whole land, Braj Bhumi mein, they are so ingrained that I don't think we need to do any kind of intervention there. The only intervention that we can do is don't build, don't go and make a house there. Visit, yes, but probably don't think about settling there, because that's where these, with urban mindset, when we go, we actually spoil. And this urban mindset of having a superiority, that yes, I come from this place or this city. These people are, kind of living in slums or living in uh, a smaller houses or this and that. That's where I think this ego comes in, and that's where we start hurting the ecological balance of that area. Now, Krishna was a complete man. He was Yogeshwar, a wise man, a person who fought the Mahabharata also, but he's known to have killed only 3 people in his lifetime. So there were some wonderful things that these miniature paintings which have depicted Krishna and Radha in so many ways, with a beautiful surrounding. And sometimes the stories that the background tells you is also so wonderful. Sometimes people should pay more attention to the background of these miniature paintings. Like when architect Savita talked about the lotus and the cranes that are there, and the kind of flowers which are bringing in insects and birds. And so this is how the ecology was there at certain time, which is getting spoiled everywhere. All over the world, we are killing these things. So maybe if we let the nature be, nature will be much more beautiful than, whatever we do.
Yes.
We touch it and we spoil it. So it was a wonderful, wonderful lecture. I really loved it, and I hope students really enjoyed it, because this is how sensitive one should be when one is dealing or touching the nature. So landscape is an interesting part of nature actually. We try to create nature by landscape. We try to do that. Nature अपने आप में complete होता है. So we really enjoyed this interaction. We will look forward to having another one from you.
I always end up with some technical glitches.
That's okay. That's okay. Ultimately, the resultant was wonderful, so it's okay. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. So we will again get in touch with you somewhere towards November or so for another series on some other part of India and the water, and how the water is playing important role there. So back to you, Nisha, and thanks a lot, Savita Didi. Thanks a lot. Really love.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your concluding views. So before we conclude our today's session, we at CTS COA would like to once again thank architect Savita Raje madam for her fascinating talk, and all the wonderful audience for their enthusiastic participation. We look forward to meeting you all again tomorrow at the same time, where our next speaker, Professor S. Jayachandran, will enlighten us with all his with his lecture on measured memory and constructed imagination, the idea and practice of Indian temple architecture. So, hoping to see you all again